Welcome back, everyone, to Vox Markets. My name is Paul Hill, and I'm delighted again to be able to speak to CEO Harry Adams of Argentex, a specialist foreign exchange services group. So welcome, Harry.
Bit of a tongue twister, that, Paul.
Yeah. Big congrats on today's very impressive trading update with sales rising 63% to £41 million for the 9 months ending December. So maybe we can start there. It's been very much a sort of transformational year, 2022. What's been sort of driving that incredible top line growth?
Yeah, I think I messaged to you, and certainly we messaged to the market previously that we overhauled the strategy of the company and around about sort of mid 2021, and that strategy is now sort of fairly well documented around investment in people, investment in overseas expansion, and investment in technology and products. So happy to say, as you've probably seen from the RNS today, that there's been some really good inroads made on all three of those pillars. So it has been a year of an investment, but also a year of return. And we've never been concerned about the size of the opportunity. It was more of a case of ensuring that we're investing for the future in order to take that market share. So very, very happy with the results. But 22 was 22. That's over and done with. Now we're fully focused on 23, 24, 25.
Yeah, well, you're a very tough taskmaster there, I think, because your client numbers have gone up by 12%. So that says everything. In terms of the broader industry, have we reached a bit of a tipping point between sort of like, the fintechs and the challengers like, Argentex versus the traditional banks? Because I did see a bit of research which came through from, I think it was Flagship Advisory, and they were saying that their expectations is the industry is going to go up sort of like, 4 or 5% in totality, but the lion's share of that growth, 20% per annum, is going to be the fintechs and the challengers like yourself over the sort of long time. What's your sort of feeling in terms of that shift between the sort of traditionals and the challengers?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. We are at the coalface. We are speaking to the clients. Now, what you're saying is that there has been a shift in the view of a CFO or an MD or business owner to give challenger banks and non-banks a go. Still to this day, 85% of corporates trade their foreign exchange and payments with their relationship bank. But the more noise there is around the non-banks, there are a couple out there that are doing tremendously well, that have invested heavily into technology, who are advertising on tubes and football shirts. That's great for us, because what it does, it opens the eyes up of the FD to alternatives. So what we found previously is that certainly on the prospecting stage, the common objection from an MD or an FD would be, look, it's just easier to use the bank, it's safer, it's quicker. But slowly but surely, we're sort of breaking down those objections. We're proving actually, it's not as safe, or it's no less safe to trading with Argentex, as an example. And it is just as quick, if not quicker. And if there's ever a problem, you can get on the phone to someone within 3 rings of the telephone, an actual person that you'll speak to, that can find out exactly where your payment is and potentially why it hasn't reached a beneficiary. So, I think it's all very well selling on price in our industry. And there's always been this sort of discussion that the more tech that comes in is a race to the bottom. Yeah, I mean, that could well be true for the more retail end of the market, but sort of the area that we facilitate, which is the more sort of sophisticated SMEs and the institutions, still service is sort of the number one USP for Argentex. Yeah,
good. And then just in terms of, I know it's been quite a heavy sort of like, investment phase, as you've mentioned, in your sort of your people, your technology and the overseas, etc. In operating leverage, and how are we seeing that sort of like develop over the next sort of like 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, so the investment started when we overhauled the strategy in late 21. We notified the market that 22 will be an investment year, as will 23. Then we'll start to managing to get back to those sort of operating margins that we enjoyed pre-IPO and shortly after the IPO. So I think the results of the update that we put out today should clearly demonstrate to investors that it's working. The investment is returning. Of course, a lot of the costs that are in that sort of the fixed costs that are in there are employment costs. There's no surprise there that they are creeping higher. Argentex are now sort of the FX payments provider that people want to come and work at as well. So the more consolidation we're seeing in the market is good for us. But of course, we do have to pay for the top talent. They come to Argentex for free. Great place to work, but I can't see them turning up for free. So look, we are attracting top talent. We are paying for top talent. They are returning on that investment. And you've seen today that the revenue is there. The market is still right in front of us. So as long as we are continuing to invest, then the revenue would outstrip those costs, and then we're getting back to that sort of the 30 plus margins that, as I say, we enjoyed pre-2020.
Yeah, and then on the platform side, the sort of tech side of it, obviously you've made some really good sort of initial moves with, I think there was a number of clients now using it 65% higher than it was sort of a year ago. Obviously there's a lot of good technology there. Can you just talk us through sort of what the sort of roadmap is in terms of the sort of next 6 months, in terms of different features, different products, and how you're seeing it develop?
Yeah, so going back to the investment, a lot of the cost was baked into 2022. And in fact, all we really have done in 2022 is launched a new trading platform. This isn't spectacular in terms of it's not a game changer for Argentex. It's really what the corporates and the institutions have come to demand. They want to have a user-friendly online platform where they don't have to pick up the phone to a specialist dealer. They can just log on, execute the price, and move on. So we rolled that out earlier on this year, and as you mentioned, there's been a 65% increase in the uptake of clients trading online. But really, where we're sort of excited, I guess, is the sort of phase 2 and the phase 3. It's been built, it's in beta testing. We've developed a new team around that, new technology team. We've got a new alternatives team who will start to drive that product over the next sort of few months or so. We've got a handful of clients that are already using it. Clearly, we don't want to open the floodgates too soon until we're absolutely sure there are no teething problems. But I think from what I've heard, so far so good. So really excited about the opportunity that presents over the next 1 to 3 years.
Yeah, and I guess with the technology being a platform, sort of, it means that the incremental, the operation gearing on a sort of like that software. If you're introducing things like, I don't know, mass payments and IBAN, multi-current IBAN and stuff like that, then effectively, because it's self-serve, I guess the client then there's no incremental cost really, or very little, other than maybe some transaction fees.
Yeah, yes and no. Look, we're not here to shoehorn product or service into the client. So we've always said we'll give the client what they want.
Okay.
Often, clients don't want to speak to an FX specialist or a dealer. They would rather just log on in the morning, get the trade away, and make sure it's been paid to the right place at the right time, which is great, fine. And of course, the less people that we have involved in that transaction, the higher the margin of the transaction. So mass payments being a really good example of, we can probably shoot out 20,000, 30,000 payments in the space of, one trade that's being done over the phone online. So in the same sort of time. They also have a slightly higher spread attached to those kind of payments. Clearly, because there's a cost to doing 20,000 payments, where there isn't a cost of doing $100 million trade. But it is what we're trying to do is sort of go up and down that food chain. So Argentex has always been focused on that more sophisticated SME and that institution. But there's no reason why we can't come down the food chain. As long as we've got a very easy, seamless onboarding process that doesn't cost the world for a client to onboard, we can effectively give the client a login and let them get on with it. There's very little touch points within that. Now, if they do want to speak to if they do want to speak to a dealer or an FX specialist to speak about hedging or some sort of structured solution, then of course we'll allow them to do that. But yeah, it's exciting, really is.
Brilliant. And give us a bit of colour update on the overseas side. I know the new office out in Amsterdam, in Holland, and then there's the Australia business as well.
Yeah, so we messaged, I think, the interims about the obtaining of the e-money license in the Netherlands. That's been a huge step for Argentex. Having that gold standard of regulation allows us to sort of gives us a springboard across Europe. We really treat the Netherlands office, the Amsterdam office, as a local market currently. Yes, it does allow us to passport across Europe, but we are fully focused on that local market. There is going to be further expansion across Europe over the next 1 to 2 years, which I believe we messaged to the market previously. And also, we're on the other side of the world. So we have an office in Sydney, Melbourne, both operational currently. They are sort of in the infancy stage of their journey, similar sort of journey to what we experienced in London in the early days and the Netherlands experienced in 2020. So we've been really pleased with the progress that they've made over there, being able to trade on a very basic regulatory basis. But we're looking to ramp that up significantly over the next 12 to 18 months.
And I guess you've probably got a lot of UK clients who have offices in Europe and in Australia, who effectively you're following your clients, aren't you? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, look, the foreign exchange market is open 5.5 days a week. So we have to ensure that we have the ability to service those clients whatever time of the day it is. So, the reason we're going to Australia is not just because it's sunny and it's got very similar market dynamics to the UK. It is to give that sort of 24-hour coverage across the market. So the Aussie guys will pick up the UK trades and vice versa. So, and of course, there's sort of one other continent that we not mentioned that clearly was sort of finished that 24-hour time zone, and Americas, whether it's North America or Canada, is yet to be seen.
Follow the sun, eh? Very good. So just wrapping up then, what's the sort of the news flow going forward? We've obviously got the prelims, I think, in April, you mentioned. Anything else to sort of for investors to sort of watch out for?
Not really. I think, we'll go out in April. We're still crunching the numbers, clearly. We have a short period, 9-month period, and that comes with a few frustrations from an auditor's point of view. Hence us going out, I guess, sort of slightly after Easter. I would like to be before. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, look, if there's anything specific that we need to update the market on, we would of course do that. But as I said at the beginning of this call, we're now fully focused on 23, fully focused on 24, and sort of looking at these periods with a fair amount of confidence. Good.
Well, I'll just highlight to investors that Singers have put out their new broker note, and they've got a target price. They've increased it from £1.60 to £1.97. So obviously they see a lot of value. And I would say the shares currently at 135 are trading at roughly around about 40 to 50% discount to the broader sector. So still plenty of value if people want to have a good look through Argentex. So thanks very much, Harry, and a big congrats to the whole Argentex team for a terrific and transformational 2022.
Thanks, Paul. Good to speak to you.